touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it. Favor, just touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it.
Well, howdy everyone. This is the USA Trucks Chase, the West East Dubby Chase for our truck series. But before we can get to the main event tonight, we will have a sprint qualifier to determine the last two entries as it works out. The top 20 from the East and the top 20 from the West are locked into these chase races. But the outsiders, which is a full group of 40 as we have right here on track, still fighting to fill in those last two spots for the main event. And so, to no further ado, we're going to get started with who's on the front row here. We've got Drew Clue and Mark Shelton. And then you've got AJ Kosnoff and Jonah Burridge. John Brinker and Brandon Butler II. And we'll just kind of keep skimming through here and highlight some of the big names. Ace Vaden, definitely one of the contenders this season. It's going to be crazy that he's actually got to race his way in here tonight. As well as Tasha right there in the midfield. Cannon Gage and Ryan White, both of them have had a decent start to their, decent run so far this season. Krista Cower, Joao Vitor, William Whitmore almost won a race. If he had won the race, he could be locked into the chase field, but unfortunately in the sprint qualifier field here. Wyatt Wilkinson, Luis Rodriguez, and then at the very back of the field here, as we get settled in for a 25-lap sprint qualifier to determine the last two drivers making it into the main event here tonight. And so that's going to be a tough order for some of these folks. Obviously, we're looking at all the drivers here that have not won a race this year. Although with a less strength of field that they have to face here, it'll still feel really good to get a sprint qualifier win, as it would lock them in for a shot at trying to get a full win here tonight. They do get to re-qualify once they make it out of the sprint qualifier here, and there's no telling where they'll qualify for the main event after that. Pace truck is off, everyone getting settled, hitting the restart zone, and we're off and rolling. But yeah, for most of these folks, they're simply just trying to make the most out of a trying season, as they had failed to get into the top 20 in points. So struggling as they have throughout the year, this is still an opportunity for some of them to try and fight for some wins here during the chase. It's just crazy that we've got 40 drivers in the field here that have not won yet this year and basically hanging on by a thread. 3 wide for the lead as you got Ace Vaden forcing it 3 wide there. Rosevich right behind him. Wright also third in line there. Wright and Rosevich, they're going to push their way to the front. And don't count out Cannon Gage as he is slowly creeped up into the picture here. We did have a wreck of all the races we've hosted here on the moon. That is actually the first wreck we've had. Well, actually, I take that back. We did see a pretty gnarly wreck here with the Cup Series. I think we had a flipper here. Speeds they carry here are insane, so the crashes are also insane for that matter. And there you have it. Most of the folks at the back of the field here getting in a wreck. That's going to be end of the story for tonight on some of these folks. When push comes to shove, the 43 gets slammed into the wall there. What a tough break for Taden Berggren. Newcomer there in the number 01, that is Zach Morewhite. Right at the front of the field, it was the 46 getting into the 98, and the 01 just had nowhere to go. Yeah, 4 wide, 4 position there. Craig Popgris in the 46, Krista Cower in the 98, 91 of Johnny Blaney up on the high side. Sandwiched together, collecting multiple other trucks behind them. Maybe Wyatt Wilkinson might have actually made it through that. Well, not unscathed, but definitely lighter on the wear and damage than some of the others. Simply a kiss there from the 39. Luis Rodriguez, let's see how he got the C's parted. We'll check on the in-car cam on this one. Well, as it stands right now, our 2 transfers, if it were to finish the way it's running, would be Rosevich and Cannon Gage. Of course, still 20 more laps to go. There's a lot that could happen in the next 20 laps of the sprint qualifier. Lights are off on the pace truck. We'll get back going green here next lap. If you're just now tuning in, you haven't missed much more than the first caution of the race. Out from that first wreck, we had the 91 of Johnny Blaney, the 68 of, that should be Finley Herwig. I was going to say Finley Herwig. And the 01 of Zach Morewhite. Multiple other trucks were involved and sustained damage, but are still out there running. From the back there, you see Krista Cower with some damage. The 55 clipped the wall pretty hard. Taden Berggren sustained some damage. Craig Popgris was involved. But for the most part, the 39 of Wyatt Wilkinson got spun out, but did not sustain a whole lot of damage. So that 39 truck should be decent, at least. We're doubled up for the restart. All these folks trying to drive their way into the main event here tonight. Who's it gonna be? It's actually pretty crazy. This is the first time that we've seen Mars Speedway actually race out like a true super speedway. Our other races that we've hosted here with Cup, Bridge to Cup, and not yet ARCA, but Bridge to Cup and Cup, we saw a lot of these races kind of get stretched out. Another 4-wide scenario here with Ace Vaden down on the low side. Chris Hergeson in the middle. Ooh, they're going to settle in. 3 wide behind that. Oh, and not for long as Tasha Wright gets into Chris Hergeson, and it's going to be the big one. Well, Vaden didn't end his day in the first caution, but it's going to be that second caution that nabs him here. So maybe we're in for somewhat of an appetizer here as to what we can expect for the main event. Holy cow. So this all starts with the 04 of Chris Hergeson. O2 gets in, and then the track just starts to clean itself up here. At that point, the 04 of Hergeson is clear. Nothing else from the 04. But we did have some extracurriculars further down the track, not necessarily related to the initial wreck. Oh wow, how did the 82 end up all the way facing backwards? Wow, so the 82 spun through the dirt there, comes back up onto the racing surface and collects the 70. Dang, that's a tough break for Ryan White there. Just an innocent bystander in this whole mess. At this point, he thought he was all clear, but then all of a sudden, bam, this car slides all the way up the track into him. And that ain't it. We still got some more. Oh, wait, the other one was that of Taden Berggren there. We'll hop on board here with Cal Anderson and see his view for the wreck. Wow. Drew Clue here goes for quite the ride, but it looks like he's able to get it pointing in the right direction pretty quickly. As he spins there, rejoins the racing surface, and you can still watch as that 82, that is a most peculiar way to collect more carnage there in the midst of the race. Tough break for AJ Kosnoff. And we'll go back on the drone cam here for Kosnoff and see just how bad it was. So one of the problems with racing on the moon here is you do not have the same confines that gravity would adhere to, so lights are off on the pace truck. Hopefully we can get some laps in here. It's been a wreck fest just in the sprint qualifier alone. You might be able to argue that these guys simply want it that badly, that they want to be in the main event here tonight, that they're giving it their all. Part of me thinks that this is what we can expect for the main event here tonight, is a whole lot of chaos and uncertainty. So our chase drivers definitely had this one marked with a big question mark on it, because they honestly, no one has any data on the track here, and I think they're definitely watching very carefully in the sprint qualifier to see what they can learn, what to do and what not to do on the racetrack. It's definitely a learning experience for everyone. $15 laps to go. Hopefully we can get sorted here and get some racing in. It's crazy just how different the AI drive between all the different mods in the game. We did not have a single problem like this with our cup physics. Apparently with the truck physics, it is just a bit too much for these trucks. We'll also keep an eye on that too and see that the cup car was able to get up to about 240 miles an hour. Got to start to factor in the aerodynamics of these trucks are a whole nother beast. And they're only getting up to about 195, it looks like. That factors in significantly too when your top speed is 195. We've got a kamikaze dive bomber down on the inside racing line. I don't know, that had to have ended very badly. The 02 and the 62 there spin out. Luckily not collecting anyone else. That was a major lucky break that we didn't get any more tangled up in that wreck there. We'll make this a super quick caution. Go ahead and turn the lights off on the pace truck next time by. This would be halfway through our sprint qualifier. Alrighty, halfway in, halfway to go with our sprint qualifier. 13 in, 12 to go. And at the front right now, it's Lucas Holmes and Jamie Horseman. Chasey Plays and Jonah Burridge with Tasha Wright in 5th. We have not been able to complete more than a handful of laps without a caution coming out, so hold on tight. Buckle those seatbelts down and let's try to get some laps rolling here at Mars Speedway. Jamie Horseman with the start there. 36 of Lucas Holmes on the inside. Jonah Burridge on the high side making a move. It looks like he's going to get the advantage here on the high side. Chasey plays, pushing that 36, giving him a little bit of a run there. Jack Davis, Ace Vaden, and now Tasha Wright trapped in the middle as she's got Nate Newman right behind her. We're actually able to complete a lap here. Green through one lap late in the running here. 3 wide for the lead. Obviously, we're racing for the top 2 positions, so you do not want to be in that 3 wide and be the third man out. There we go. A move by Ace Vaden puts Jack Davis back a spot, bringing Cannon Gage and William Whitmore to the front. Honestly, this is probably the most stacked that a sprint qualifier has looked in ever within USA Trucks. We have a lot of heavy hitters here that just failed to hit the top 20 in points during the regular season. And so it's going to be a shame seeing a lot of these drivers not make the main event here tonight. But it's truly going to be an exciting fight for the finish here, and whoever does get it is going to earn it the hard way. Wyatt Wilkinson on the low side here, making up some ground. They almost got 4 wide, but they're 3 wide all throughout the front of the field towards the back. I think right about Wilkinson's spot there is about where you want to be, pushing your way up to the front. Chase Kovacic in the 71, definitely sitting pretty, as we're only going to be down to about 8 laps to go. Make that 7 laps to go this time by. And then it's actually looking like they're going to be moving too quickly through the field. Kovacic made a move to get up high. He thought it was going to be a better move to get in the middle and drop to the back here. Maybe not a half bad move. The 0-2 from pole position got involved in a wreck earlier and now back up to second here. But Wilkinson looking to take second away from him. I do think we're starting to see the faster trucks start to separate themselves from the rest of the field. Wyatt Wilkinson, Luis Rodriguez, John Brinker, top 3 right now. 11 of Mark Shelton from front row, back to the front of the field again. Wilkinson shuffles back here. I think he's going to try to find an opening on that inside. The inside gap closed pretty quickly there as the 28 of Jamie Horseman stole it from him. Now you got a trio of Fords leading the way here. Lap traffic is going to become a factor. The 26 of Lucas Holmes. Everyone narrowly missing that 26. Correction. Jamison Thole, not Lucas Holmes. Oh, and they're wrecking because of the bunch up there. Man, we just had some great racing up to this point. Now we're going to have to, unfortunately, throw the caution yet again. Just a single truck spin out here. The 99 of Daniel Paulus with nowhere to go there, gets turned. Wow. Did not see the tail end of that. That's crazy. Holy cow. So, when the 26 came out, held up the traffic, Tasha Wright was all the way back in 22nd. She catapults herself from 22nd all the way up to 5th. Caution does not come out yet. She's up to 5th. Racing with the leaders here. The draft broken immensely at this point. She's up to 4th. Up to 3rd. About to make it 3 wide for the lead here. She thinks better of it at the moment. Caution does come out. This is racing back to the line as the rule exists in NR 2003. And Tasha does drive back to the front here, inheriting the lead for a 5-lap shootout here tonight. Well, now it'll be a 3-lap shootout. Lights are out on the pace truck. We will get back going on lap 23 of 25 in the sprint qualifier. And only your top 2 drivers qualify for the main event. We're not going to throw any green-white checkers, so it's going to be racing to the finish here, regardless of if a caution comes out or not. Wilkinson had been fighting up at the front. He's going to have his work cut out for him here. Inside line, though, definitely where he wants to be. So who's it going to be? Is it going to be Nate Newman and Tasha Wright, or will we see someone deeper in the field here like Ace Vaden, Craig Bush, or even Wyatt Wilkinson race their way in? Green flag waving on the restart here. We get off and rolling for 2 more circuits around the track. Your leaders definitely a sitting duck at the front of the field as that inside line materializes a lot quicker than they can protect it. The 28 of Jamie Horseman takes over the position. Roach right there in second now. Lucas Holmes up to about 5th. Jamie Horseman shuffles way out here. And it's going to be lap 24 of 25. Wow, Wyatt Wilkinson gets shoved up high here by Brandon Butler the second. Chase Kovacic on the move as well. Wow, 4 wide for second row there. That's not going to work. No! And that would have been one of your drivers trying to race their way in with Chase Kovacic there. Gets into Kovacic, collects the 36. Man, I think the 2 drivers, well, we're going to let them race it back to the line here. They're going to race back to the line, and it's going to be Brandon Butler the second. Jonah Burridge in the 07. Those are going to be your 2 drivers transferring from the sprint qualifier to the main event here tonight. Brandon Butler, definitely new to the series, hoping to get some good runs in here. Jonah Burridge as well. Had he gotten a few opportunities this year, could have been in victory lane. But that is all she wrote for the sprint qualifier here. What a heartbreak, though. I mean, Wyatt Wilkinson was doing everything he could there just to fight for the position, and ends up getting 4 wide at the worst case scenario. We'll watch it one more time as he's trapped 4 wide. And he's fighting for position with all those drivers involved for the top 2 positions. You can't say it was without trying. It was going to come down to who wanted it worse. And Wilkinson just got put in a very, very precarious position there and ran out of room. Tasha Wright, Roach, Chase Kovacic, man, I was thinking Kovacic was going to be a lock, but unfortunately got involved in that last wreck there. That is just the excitement that, the chase usually cooks up for us. It's crazy and unpredictable, and that's exactly what we're in for tonight with our main event. I'm hoping it's not as big of a wreck fest with all the big dogs out there racing. It's unpredictable, so we won't know until they all hit the track here in about 5 minutes. Alrighty.
Favor, just touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it. touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want.
Alrighty, time for Chase Racing in the USA Trucks. The West and the East combined for the first time here in 2024. And you'll have very good indicators on who is in the chase contention for the championship, as you've got the green windshield and even distinction between the East and the West. On the front row, none other than Tim Cording and Alan Malcolm lead the way here today. Behind them, you've got Matthew Fastnot and Trevor Walker. A whole bunch of the green windshields up the front of the field here, as we also have Alex Sanvital and Guido Piano, your 2022 USA Trucks champion, here in the number 19 Toyota Tundra. Then we have the 13 of Aunt Me Person and the 77 of Willow Blake. The 05 of Adam Cruz and the 20-year regular season champion Trevor Vaden. Al Bunch and Spin'em Walker. Your sprint qualifier winner, or at least qualified in the 07 of Jonah Burridge with the 45 of Skylar Taylor. Tom Cording and Bailey Parker. James Gunner and Dave Steele Jr. Kyler Sestre and Chaz Chadwick. And then we've got your top contender with the most points seated, Jordan Walker, alongside Lynn Farrell. Gannon Bird and Andrew Moger, Brian DeBlank, and the 22 of Kat Durham. Behind that, you got Jack Ross and Bradley Ream, who just made it in by the skin of his teeth, your 2024 Bridge to Cup champion. I was going to list off every other name except Bridge to Cup. Then you've got Chris Harvey and Braden Hunt, David Bird and Shy Turtle, John Hagan and Anheuser Wagner, Ralph Oberstadt, Eli the Wolf, Zach Magoon, Jeffrey Gerald, Brandon Butler II, Andre Stefan, and then our other title contender, Noah Hobson, is going to have to come deep in the field here tonight. 138 laps, roughly about 275 miles here tonight.
Boys, coming at you. Let's make it a go, man. Let's have some fun.
And so the Moon Cheese 275 is underway here. A lot has been leading up to this moment. So many of these drivers trying to fight for the overall championship, and here is their chance. Tim Cording and Alan Malcolm will lead the way. They're looking to make up some bonus points to try and get themselves in better standing going forward. And we're off and rolling here today. Definitely the wild factor here being this track no one has any data on. So tonight's going to be a hard race for everyone involved. It's just going to be kind of learning the ropes for the first stint here and then figuring out where to go from there. Tim Cording has yet to win the championship in this style where we have the East and the West combine for a championship at the end of the season. He has won a full length season in the trucks before, and his brother Tom actually took the inaugural East-West. Oh, no. We just had a title contender get swooped out of the race here. That was the 20 of Trevor Vaden. We're going to let them run back to the line here, but we've already got championship implications on lap 2 with one of our heavy contenders that should be a favorite for the championship. So Al Bunch comes to the lead here on lap 3. Let's see just how bad this wreck was. The 20 right there, there's Trevor Vaden. Also around him was the 07 of Jonah Burge, the 03. Ooh, the 03 does not give him much room. Honestly, impressively enough, I don't think there's much damage there on the 20. Only 3 drivers involved, with Bailey Parker kind of being the catalyst for that wreck. The 7 of Spin'em Walker, I think, might have took the worst of the damage there. And Trevor Vaden might have took a good blow as well. But they're going to be able to keep going. And the main subject at that point is just surviving the rest of the race, even with a wounded truck. Definitely not like the big ones we were seeing in the sprint qualifier. So that was actually pretty mild there. And it's nice that we only had 2 chase contenders involved in the wreck. A little bit of extracurricular even afterwards there between the 69 and your overall number 1 seeded Jordan Walker. Oofty. Now that's a little bit harder hit there. The 10, who leads the points, rolling into the chase here, gets involved with a 4-wide wreck, including Tom Cording and Chaz Chadwick. How bad did Chaz Chadwick get it here? Not terribly. But that's one of the crazy highlights about this chase is you never know who's going to make a mistake here. Jordan Walker, your number 1 seed. Looks like he'll be fine. I want to see Chadwick here. Wow, Chadwick did not get much damage at all. That General Lee inspired number 18. Actually, he might be smiling under the helmet there after seeing the number 10, the 10 truck involved in the spin, because that's the guy everyone's got their target set on. But ultimately, Al Bunch at the beginning of the race here is going to hold the lead for a brief moment. Alex Sanvital there in second. It's going to be Adam Cruz, Willow Blake, Trevor Walker, and Tim Cording, Alan Malcolm, and Ant Meeperson, with Jonah Burridge and Matthew Fastnot rounding out your top 10 here. But as is customary at these super speedway races, might be in the top 10 this lap, but you might be in the back 20 next lap. So it's all about staging yourself for the final laps here. First wreck the race, no retirements. Everyone's still out there running. Some of them a little bit beaten up. Maybe need to settle down and avoid any more further chaos here tonight. San Vital with the lead early in this one. That's got to be very promising for that team, knowing that the 93 kind of comes in as an underdog here, with only one win to their name, and not terrible season, just not exactly a championship caliber season yet, and anything can happen here in the chase. Al Bunch back to the lead. I wouldn't say that Al Bunch lucked into his win, but he definitely had some help when he won at Charlotte earlier this season. And that was probably one of the most exciting wins for kind of a driver that it's not regularly in the truck series for the wins or anything like that. He kind of just shows up and tries to get the best finishes possible. He's been lights out this season in the Cup Series with 9 wins to his name, and trying to maybe carry some of that success over into trucks now. So Al Bunch with 3 lanes coming for him. He's blocking 3 lanes right now at the front of the field, leading this race masterfully. It's going to take for someone to be able to block all 3 lanes of traffic to actually get the win here tonight. Here comes Willow Blake with a hard charge on the inside. Oh no, there's some more carnage happening behind him. And I honestly think your best bet is going to be running up front here tonight. This track, so many unknowns as we let them race back to the start-finish line. It's going to be Al Bunch and Willow Blake leading the field to the caution. But we need to dissect just how many chase contenders were involved in our second wreck here tonight. Took them a little longer. It took us about 3 laps before the caution fell this time. And prime suspect number 1, it would have been about right here with Tim Cording and Guido Piano. Wow, they didn't wreck, and then all of a sudden they did wreck. Wow, there's so much going on. It's hard to keep our focuses. But then when the 85 spins out, comes back up the track, it's a bad mess in the background there. There ain't no getting out of that one. As you see, even the 21 of Trevor Walker gets tangled up there. Oh boy. Oh, the 21 gets some hard hits there. James Gunner, one of your other title contenders here. Nowhere to go, gets clobbered by the 85. 90 gets sit spinning. Oofty. Spin'em Walker took a hard hit into the wall there. And then let's watch Brian DeBlank's cam here. So many of these wrecks, though, I don't see a lot of contact. Wow, the 10 of Jordan Walker got super lucky there. So many of them kept their trucks clean, even in the midst of chaos there. But I think the one we want to watch might be on the chase cam here for Jordan Walker, your #1 seed. What could have been worse somehow manages to save it there. Everyone doing their best job to safely maneuver through all the traffic that gets in the way. Want to get back here to the 7 and watch just how bad of a hit he takes here. Somewhat of a case of ARCA brakes there as the 7 wasn't able to get woed up in time. And holy cow, we still have all 42 trucks left running out there. So 7 of Spin Walker, your last truck running. All trucks still on the lead lap. And it's going to be Al Bunch leading everyone to the restart here with Willow Blake alongside of him. There's going to be many moments in this race at the end of tonight where we can look back and say, man, that right there was a championship saving move. And I think what we saw there from the 10 of Jordan Walker could have very well been a move that saves him from taking a big hit in the points here tonight. Still a lot of racing, and all 42 trucks still out there running. We ain't going to start DQing them until they are a hazard to the rest of the racers. So until further notice, all 42 trucks still under power and still racing for a potential win. There we have one of our sprint qualifiers, the 07 of Jonah Burge, working his way up to the front here. The other driver, the 23 of Brandon Butler, the second, also up into the top 10. Willow Blake is going to lead the lap this time. 77E, Blake leads the lap. And now for what looks to be the first time here tonight, Al Bunch is going to be dealing with some adversity as he gets stuck up on the high side. Trevor Vaden involved in that first caution all the way back up into the top 5, fighting for a win now. 20 of Vaden, we know he's definitely a hot shot here in the USA Trucks. He won the he won the West Division by besting his team owner, the 21 of Trevor Walker. The Trevor and Trevor show. And now as he's stacking up against the rest of the folks from the East and the West, we're getting to really see where he stacks up against some of these drivers. This is the first time we've got to see Chaz Chadwick and Trevor Vaden go head-to-head here during a championship. What's kind of an impressive side note there is Trevor Vaden is actually racing for Chaz Chadwick in the ARCA series and is very high candidate for the championship in that ARCA campaign for LFG Motorsports. Chaz Chadwick, he's won regular seasons, but it has eluded him to get that #1 title here in the trucks. He's still fighting for it. Oofty. James Gunner, unfortunately, title contender, it's hard to do, man. Yeah, we got to DQ him. It's a rough way to end the day for James Gunner, but not meeting minimal race pace. Same with the number 29 there of Eli the Wolf. Both of them. Braden Hunt. Oh boy, Bradley Ream. That's going to sting. We're going to let him roll a little longer here and see if we get another caution. But the 69, I'm going to go ahead and DQ that one as well. Man, all the points, it's gonna be huge. Every point is gonna matter in this USA Trucks chase for the championship. They're still out there duking it out with drivers that are not fighting for the chase championship. So there's points that are going one direction or the other for drivers not involved in this championship. It's just unfortunate circumstances because so many of these chase contenders, they got their truck put in the wrong spot at the wrong time, and now they're looking like minimal race pace is gonna be their undoing. Oh! And that's why we don't disqualify them quite so quickly, because you might have cautions further up the track. Wow! That was from 5th place on the racetrack here. Man, what a gnarly hit for Gannon Bird and Andrew Moger there. Someone's likely to retire after that wreck, and keeps things going for those guys that did not get the disqualification. Ooh, San Vital. Oofty. I don't know if San Vital is going to have much lasting damage from that, but definitely the 59 and the 74, along with Rich Roy, who this would have been one of his best runs to date, up in the top 5 early in this one. We're just lucky it didn't take more chase contenders out there as they went up the racetrack and away from the rest of the racers. So the race here at Mars Super Speedway, it's going to be a gritty one for everyone involved. This is really going to test a lot of drivers' skills and patience here today. So far what we've learned on the track is 4 wide never works here. It's a recipe for disaster when they get 4 wide. And we're starting to see our first retirements from the race as the wrecks are getting bigger and more dangerous for these folks. Did have some takers down pit road and some folks stayed out. Alan Malcolm's going to inherit the lead here with Ralph Oberstadt, Jeffrey Gerald, John Hagan, Chris Harvey, Shy Turtle, Kat Durham, Tim Cording, Anheuser Wachner, Andre Stefan, Tom Cording, Skylar Taylor, and Noah Hobson rounding out your top 20. Looks like these were the folks that stayed out, as now you've got Guido Piano rejoining the race line in 25th. Brandon Butler right behind him, Lynn Farrell, Chaz Chadwick, all these drivers likely took gas and tires during that pit stop. Jordan Walker, Zach Magoon, Al Bunch, Kyler Sestre, Jonah Burridge, Ant Me Person, Vaden. So it's kind of a catch-20. I don't know if you want to go for those fresh tires, because that's going to put you, back here with the Hornets' nest. Looks like San Vital is going to be able to continue, but we'll see at what pace and for how long before they get deemed without meeting race pace. So 21 laps in so far, and the retirements have reached all the way back. We only have 36 trucks left running, and we have 6 trucks out of the event. 3 of them from damage sustained in this last accident. 3 of them disqualified for not meeting minimum race pace. So far, the hardest hit had to have been to James Gunner and the 59 of Gannon Bird. Both of those were title contenders. They obviously won't have a chance to get any more points here today. They are locked with a 39th and a 41st, meaning we still have 18 trucks out there fighting for championship points in the chase. Some of them, though, are at risk of getting disqualified for not meeting that minimum race pace. The pace truck pulls off, and it's going to be Alan Malcolm and Ralph Oberstadt leading them to the restart here. Green flag waves, and they're off and rolling. Alan Malcolm kind of sleeping on the restart there, holding up a little bit of traffic behind him. 3 wide for 3rd place, and it's going to be Chris Harvey up to 3rd. Alan Malcolm gets momentum rolling on his side now, gets a pass on the inside of Ralph for the lead, and Malcolm to P1 right there. But not for long. Chris Harvey wants to try and take the lead early in this one and get some lead laps. Tom Cording joining the mix at the front here, and his brother Tim Cording as well, peeking his nose into the picture. 3 wide for the lead. Tom Cording going to take the lead with dominance right there. Asserting his position. Although he's not in the chase, he still wants to go out there and try to help play spoiler for his brother, perhaps, who's just a couple spots back there. Ooh, wow. It was looking like they might try to go 4 wide there. Luckily, things kind of cool down a little bit, but there is a 4 wide with Chris Harvey up on the high side. This is going to be bad. Yep. Oh, they save it. They're 5 wide. Holy cow. 5 wide, 4 wide, and they're wrecking again. Oh, boy. That was a nasty hit there. And I don't think there's going to be as many drivers that can clear that wreck with ease. That looked like it was going to block off a very fast section of the track. We're going to come back to the front with Ralph Oberstadt, your leader. But, man, super speedway racing, it just kind of gets that way sometimes where the racers just don't know when to settle down and run their race. There was a wreck that almost happened, and then it did happen. Brian DeBlanc, unfortunately, involved in both of the last 2 cautions. This time, I don't think he's going to be near as lucky. Ooh, wow. And you're going to have some drivers starting to question, why are we starting a championship push out on a super speedway? You might have some drivers that are glad that we're getting it out of the way now. But holy cow, man. You know, you got to give credit to Brian DeBlanc for actually running back up to the front. He had the pace here today, the speed to get the damage on his truck and still come right back up here and try to fight for the win. Just in the wrong place at the wrong time twice here today. Gets turned, and I think that's about all she wrote for the 85. Jonah Burge gets a hard hit there. The 40, the 93 involved again. Let's watch one more shot, because this was obviously another title contender here. At first, the wreck did not look like it was going to happen. They save it, and I've never seen a wreck quite like that, where they save it and then go on to wreck even worse. And so many of our wrecks here today have come from up the front of the field. It's crazy. The last wreck we saw was from the top 5. This time, yet again, from the top 5, your driver who's running in 3rd. Chris Harvey gets super lucky there. I think sustaining probably minimal rear end damage. Another one of our top tier title contenders, Trevor Vaden here, sees all the carnage, just gets clipped there at the end, and I think he's going to be just fine. But Brian DeBlanc and Tim Cording looks to be retired from the race here. Oh, the 12 retired as well. I wonder if he took some more damage somewhere down the line. That was enough to actually end his day. That's crazy, man. They must have took enough rear end damage that that truck just did not run. Oh, it was the second hit there. The 07 to Jonah Burge piled in. I think front end damage. That engine probably got toasted after that one. So sadly, Chris Harvey's day comes to a close as well. Oh no, Al Bunch is blowing up on the restart here. He had front row. How did this... Wait, how did we even rotate around to these two back at the lead? It must have had some pit stops. Blown engine from Al Bunch. No way. This just keeps getting more and more topsy-turvy as we go along. Blown engine from the lead. That's just terrible luck. We've seen so much of that with the Toyotas. It's crazy, man. So Willow Blake and Matthew Fastnot now reset the field here. And I still have to kind of get caught back up on who's out of the race now. Jonah Burridge, Alex Sanvital, Tim Cording, Chris Harvey, Brian DeBlanc, the 40 of Bradley Ream. They are all retired. And go ahead and add Al Bunch into that mix now, as he suffered a gearbox failure. So 29 trucks left running, and we're only about 29 laps into it. They've got to start settling down and getting some laps in here. Wow, David Bird up to the front fighting for the lead. Alan Malcolm. No, no! Wow. So 2 more title contenders get knocked out here. at the end of the day, it's really just going to come down to being a wash for this race as to who actually makes the ground, who loses all the ground. Man, there was no reason for that. David Bird had 2 lanes of track down below him, and yet he went up there and crowded the 10, causing a very, very gnarly wreck here, especially for the 09. He was riding backwards on the wall, rolling around on turn 2 there. I was just about to give kudos to David Bird for running up front there. Now it's going to be Willow Blake, Ralph Oberstadt, Alan Malcolm, Jeffrey Gerald, and Kat Durham, your top 5. Looks like we might have some takers down pit road. It's going to be a relatively quick caution here, so they need to make sure they get their pit work done quickly. Lights are off on the pace truck. Maybe a bit too quick of a reset here. They should be able to get back out and rejoin the racing line before they get restarted. Yeah, I already got the 50 coming off, 45, the 13. Yep, they'll be just fine. Jordan Walker, on the other hand, looks like he's getting some damage repaired on that number 10 after the, that destructive wreck that we just saw. That 10 had some right side damage. Looks like they got it pretty much cleaned up there. Maybe a little bit later getting back to the racing line here, as the rest of the field should be doubling up shortly. Well, if you just barely tuned in, it has been action-packed and full of carnage. This truly goes to show you just how hard these drivers are giving it their all here today. The chase has started, and it started with a boom. As we've seen, at least half of the title contenders swooped up in wrecks not of their doing. We already have eight of them retired. 8 of our title contenders retired from the first race in the chase here. Obviously, there will still be 9 races to try and undo the mistakes made here today at Mars Super Speedway. But you come to think of it, so many of these drivers are trying to capitalize on the moment and get as many points here tonight that they can when the rest of the brass are having a bad day. So, very fascinating storyline here with Willow Blake up front leading. She has done a great job holding off a lot of very stout competition behind her. That 77 truck has not yet won in USA Trucks competition, but if I had to wager, this could be her best shot at getting the job done here tonight. Wow, she has a stout push on the outside there from Ralph Oberstadt, fighting with the title contender there of Alan Malcolm. Things should start to get kind of settled down here, as we've already knocked out about half the racing field. 3 wide for the lead still. It's not settling down very easily, as they're still trying to race for every spot on track. Willow Blake stuck up on that high side, definitely not where you want to be here. We've seen so many things go wrong getting stuck up on that high groove. She's going to have an opportunity to get down a groove, though, as that 00 had a mistake. Must have missed a shift or something. Jack Ross slowed way up there. They're still trying to recover from the checkup there from the 00. As Shy Turtle in his truck's debut, running up here in the top 10. Chaz Chadwick on the move, getting a good push from late contender in this chase, Zach Magoon, who won the last race at Evergreen to lock himself in. You got Trevor Vaden and Jeffrey Gerald right there. Now that we've got some laps in the books here, let's look to the front and see who's meeting race pace. Spinham Walker, he's definitely slow, but they still have about half a track's difference. We'll let him roll for now. 10 of Jordan Walker still meeting race pace. His brother Trevor Walker just in front of him meeting race pace. But this is where that points buffer for your number 1 seed, he's going to be leaning on it here today. He might have a 76-point seeding, but tonight you're going to see some drivers catch right on up to that. I would go as far to say that Trevor Vaden could potentially find himself towards the front of the title contention with some luck here today. Man, what a novel concept. Once we're down to less trucks on field, we can actually get some racing laps in. Kyler Sestre gets hung out to dry on the high side, leaving Willow Blake up front leading. She's running her race and leading those laps. The rest of these folks just trying to accrue as many points as possible. 4 wide, that's a wreck waiting to happen. Shy Turtle in a very, very precarious position there, makes it out alive. And it was with a lot of title contenders amongst him that could have went very, very wrong very quickly. Holy cow, what about Ant Me Person showing up when the time matters? We have not seen this caliber of Ant Me Person probably in close to a year. He has not looked this strong for quite some time. That number 13 Thrustmaster Dodge Ram putting on a good showing so far. Jeffrey Gerald as well. That's a stout statement run here from that number 16 Honda Ridgeline. Well, Tim Cording might be out of the race, but his brother Tom trying to put on a decent showing here tonight. And still, how about Brandon Butler II, your sprint qualifying winner, making it into the main event here tonight? It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. We have seen it happen once where a sprint qualifier goes on to win the race. It would just be very, very unlikely, especially being in a Chevy as he is. Chevy only has 1 manufacturer win in all of the USA Trucks competition. That would have belonged to the 81, just a couple spots behind him in John Hagan. Chevy definitely hoping to get another win. They've got a strong chance at it here today. You got Ralph Oberstadt in the mix as well, representing Chevy. And Tom Cording to the lead after Ant Me Person took it briefly there. Kyler Sestre down on the low side. He's going to get by the 50. This 24 got shuffled up and out, but now he's back to the front. Whoa, what about Guido Piano out of nowhere? Your 2022 USA Trucks champion. He always seems to find an extra gear when Chase is involved. We all know the story of that 19 Guido Piano back when he was in the number 37 truck, and he was in a must-win scenario in the round of 6. Not only does he win from 6th in the round of 6, he also goes on the next week and wins the championship by winning the race at Talladega. So let it be no coincidence that that 19's up front again, running good. Man, and we just were getting a good run going, and another wreck rears its ugly head here. And it was the 13 of Aunt Me person. Oh, and Alan Malcolm takes quite a bit of the damage there as well. 51 of Magoon. Kind of actually, that was all on Magoon, I think. Which I can only imagine that Magoon had... he got hooked by the 3. The 3 of Ralph Oberstadt clipped him, and it just collected the 9 and 13, unfortunately. Still a minor wreck in the grand scheme of things here. 2 trucks involved. Let's see if everyone else makes it through without collecting any of them. Yep, pretty easy getting back going here. So yeah, just a 2-truck spin there. We might see a retirement. I don't know yet. The 9 looked pretty rough for the wear. Yep, another title contender in Alan Malcolm knocked out. The crazy part is, number 1 seed, Jordan Walker's still out there running, although he doesn't have the pace to run with the lead pack anymore. Well, we are down to 26 trucks left running, and the title contender count still continuing to grow for those retired. As we are now up to 9 of our title contenders retired from the race here today. Means 11 of them still out there running, still have a shot to at least get some more points that are up on the board. There's obviously many more opportunities for wrecks to happen here, so the ones that are probably counting their lucky stars would be the Walker Bros, who have pretty much been through the shredder here today. They're still out there holding on to every point they can get. And then you've got drivers like Chaz Chadwick, who just continues to kind of hide in the background, avoiding all of the chaos and carnage that's going on around him. Like the guy that carries his pizza in and the whole apartment's on fire. That's where Chaz Chadwick is right now. Trevor Vaden, he's looking to try and make up at least max points so that he can try to leave here tonight within reach of the lead, perhaps. But then you got Guido Piano, who simply just playing on house money here. That 19, wanting to fight for another championship. He could become your first multi-champion. Tom Cording not in the field. Tim Cording had a rough go of it here today, so yeah, we could see someone possibly pop up as the first two-time champion. We're back green and going here. Guido Piano, Zach Magoon, Andre Stefan, and Tom Cording right there in the top 5. Kyler Sustre. As it stands, Guido Piano is dead last in the chase standings. So he, like I said, playing on house money, all he's got to do is just kind of show up and outdo the predictions that everyone have on that 19 team. Trevor Vaden in the 20. He's got about 29 points. Oh, and there's another gnarly wreck there in the background. Oh, and it's going to be Willow Blake involved in this one. Nothing that she could do. She just got sideswiped here by the 56. Oofty. That's a hard hit for anyone. That 56 of Stefan definitely knocked out now. These drivers keep falling off one by one. Neither of them, though, were title contenders, so that's 2 more spots that might open up for some of our title contenders to gain a point or 2. So far, the one record that might start to accumulate here is we might have the most cautions for a USA Trucks race. Very peculiar because this track we did not see this kind of chaos when we went here with our other series. So something with the trucks aerodynamically just do not flow well on the moon here. A lot of this chaos might actually alter our schedule for next year a little bit. Ultimately, I was planning on making them all end it on the moon. Well, we probably will. I won't change that up actually, because it'll still be, it's still going to be a factor. Someone might actually have the title tied up before we come and race on the moon, and it'll just be kind of a neat little ribbon, kind of a goofy aside for the finish of the season. It's just the difference here this year is that we're opening up with it rather than closing out with it. Well, we did see a pretty solid stint in the middle there of green flag racing. Hopefully we can find that again. Willow Blake comes right back out. Looks like she might not be too rough for the wear on that 77. She's very slow approaching. Oh, here we go. Yeah, she's getting lined up with the rest of the field here, so she should be fine. Shy Turtle in his debut there in the 76 McDonald's entry. And we're back and rolling here tonight. Here we got LFG Motorsports pushing their way up to the front, as Guido Piano now having to fight back on the outside. You know, you got strength in numbers, and definitely Chaz Chadwick and his teammate Jeffrey Gerald looking stout on the inside here. Guido Piano not letting him get very far away from him, though. Guido now hung out to dry, ain't gonna have much drafting help here. Chaz Chadwick leads the lap there. Now Chadwick also struggling to hold that bottom line as he gets shuffled up high here. Shy Turtle leading his first laps. And he's going to lead that lap. Now Chadwick takes the lead back away from him, though. 4 wide. Oh, and that's trouble for those folks in the 4 wide. They sort it back out. We're flirting with disaster every lap here, it seems like. Tom Cording, Kat Durham, Shy Turtle, and Kyler Sustre, your top 5, as they are all chasing down Chaz Chadwick from the lead. Tom Cording takes over the lead now as Chadwick gets shuffled out. Good push there by Chevy team, well, at least Chevy companions there. Ralph Oberstadt pushing John Hagan to the front. Guido Piano making a move on up into the top 3. And holy cow, Jordan Walker, from all the stops they had to make, it looks like they got that tin truck fixed. So many pit stops, so many cautions. They've actually been making tweaks on that truck every stop, and that truck looks as good as new. You don't actually usually see something like that where a truck has sustained damage and gets incremental fixes to it to where it's actually running back with the pack. Guido Piano leads the lap. Man, what a story that would be if Brandon Butler II could get the job done here today. We're right at about, close to halfway. It's a long race. This race on the moon, it's kicking off the chase, everything. This is what it's all about. You can't have no small race for a big occasion like the first race in the chase here All these drivers are out here earning it today. John Hagan in the mix, even though he's not a chase contender, he's wanting to spoil the party at the front of the field. We've already seen 9 of our title contenders get knocked out. The 10th one could very well be on the way of getting DQ'd here if he's not maintaining adequate race pace. 13 of Ant Me Person, he's 40.9 to our lead lappers 37s. Actually, that whole group is at risk of disqualification, and that's going to involve at least 3 of our title contenders there. So 9, 10, 11, and 12 of your title contenders potentially going to get the boot here. It's all going to be dependent on if we stay green, they might get, saved by a caution. That's the only way that they can avoid the DQ flag. Yeah, we're going to have to do it sooner than later, though, as they're entering turn 1. On the exit of turn 2, they are in turn 3. And with a pack that big, we're going to have to be quick on it. So wow, Cat Durham to the lead. What a bold push from the 22 Chevy there. It's a Trackhouse B entry, and yet there's some uncertainty as to where Cat Durham's going to land next year. 4 wide. Ooh, it's going to be problematic here if they don't get things sorted going into turn 1. Whoa, and there's 4 more drivers, I think, easily knocked out here today. Man, Cat Durham was having a good run, and commentator's jinx just strikes him there. 51 of Zach Magoon rolling on his roof there. Woo! Skylar Taylor just narrowly avoids hitting him as he slides down the track. Jeffrey Gerald also involved in the wreck here. And Shy Turtle in his debut fortunately got to lead a lap and might not be completely done, but definitely that truck ain't going to be right. Yeah, actually, he might be done. Truck smoking. They have to call the tow truck to get him off, so. Man, this has been a crazy race so far. Usually things get sorted out. I have never seen a race go this constant, and it's usually just a couple trucks here and there. It's not a big one every time. That we still have so many trucks left running that we can still have so many scattered cautions like this. Look at that, your top 2 seeds back up into the top 10 as you've got Jordan Walker and Trevor Vaden still holding on for as many points as they can gain here. I am trying very hard to keep this race efficient, and it's just giving us nonstop trouble here today. It's been a crazy one. Looks like I went ahead and turned off. Yep, we'll be back green this next time by. So it's going to be Guido Piano, Ralph Oberstadt leading the charge on the restart here. Chaz Chadwick and Anheuser Wagner with John Hagan, Tom Cording, Kyler Sustre, Jordan Walker, and the Cinderella story still alive here as Brandon Butler II potentially could win the sprint qualifier and the main event on the same day. We are down to 18 trucks left running. And honestly, you cannot rule anything out from happening here. Of our 138 laps, hopefully we can get all the way to lap 138. Very, very possible that we could see the entire field wreck out before the end of this one. Back and rolling here at Mars Super Speedway. Pushing it 3 wide into turn 1 it is. Brandon Butler II. He's going to have the advantage here on that inside line as he's going to start making hay. Chaz Chadwick, Guido Piano getting clear of Ralph Oberstadt here, it looks like. Well, I fully anticipate for things to start settling down here with only 18 trucks left running. Yet, so many times we've ended up jinxing things and we start wishing for things that are too good to be true. So who knows what's going to happen for the last half of this race. One thing that is for certain here, I think Jordan Walker must have a golden horseshoe that has kept him alive here tonight. That has been a very trying and a very tough race for this number 10 team, and yet they have found themselves up in the top 10, even in the mix for a win here tonight. And then we've got quite a few opportunities for a first-time winner here tonight. You've got Ralph Oberstadt, Brandon Butler II. I do not think Skylar Taylor has won yet in the Truck Series, so potentially Skylar Taylor. Potentially Anheuser Wagner. Wow, the 21 coming back around. Trevor Walker getting back amongst the lead draft here. But yeah, it would be cool if we could potentially get a first-time winner here tonight on a track where no one had any homework or research done with what to expect. If we actually get into a long enough green flag run, we might start seeing green flag pit stops. Most certainly going to have to at least pit once towards the end here, this last stint. The speeds they're going, we should be able to get the rest of this race done within 35 to 40 minutes, but who knows? I think it'd be more exciting to see Chevy get their second career win in USA Trucks. We know that Chevy is making a push for next year. We're going to see more presence from Chevy across the board. Cording Brothers Motorsport switching to Chevy, and I think that might be the missing piece that Chevy has been lacking, not having a flagship team to carry them here in the trucks. So with that, with Cording Brothers moving over to Chevy, we might see Chevy get plenty of wins. Ooh, we missed that one by a moment. Obviously, no harm, no foul. We're going to go ahead and disqualify the 13 of Ant Me Person. He'll be out of the race now. Would you look at that? We got the two 77s drafting together here. Willow Blake and Lynn Farrell. It's the only time you'll ever see both 77s on track at the same time. And how ironic that they're both nose to tail drafting each other. Now, this is the race I kind of expected to see. A lot of kind of follow the leader drafting. This is what we've seen. We saw the race here in Bridge to Cup go caution free. We had green flag pit stops, and it was on fuel mileage that Krista Cower won the Bridge to Cup race here. Definitely not the case here tonight. This race, it was about the same length, but the only difference being we've seen a wreck fest here in the trucks, so now that things have settled out, a lot of 2x2, 1x1 throughout the field. And we've got top 10 truck breakaway as Jordan Walker has now lost the draft. Skylar Taylor, Trevor Walker, Noah Hobson far off the pace. Bailey Parker also off the pace. But you can see drafting definitely does help a lot as these two running a little bit faster than the solo trucks in front of them. I'm probably going to let the rest of the lap traffic race as is without disqualifying them, as I think our leaders are going to be pretty safe maneuvering through the lap traffic here. They'll be mindful and tread carefully. Guido Piano, man, what would happen if this guy... I mean, we just saw Bridge to Cup. We saw Bradley Ream win the championship in the number 19. Could there be something to it? Be a magical season for the number 19. He's got a lot of work to do, though, being the bottom seed in this chase. Basically, what he's doing right now is what he's got to do to try and get his name in the mix here going forward. No wins, no poles, no bonus points. He has 0 points rolling into the chase here. But that doesn't matter. As long as he puts on a showing like this, he could be fighting for a championship after 10 weeks. Brandon Butler the second, still up here in the top 5, as we've got 2 Chevys. The other one there, the 3 of Ralph Oberstadt, mixing it up for the win here today. Tom Cording. Here comes Guido Piano with a hard push. He got the advantage of the draft there. Looked like a rubber band launch. Well, I let the lap traffic stay out there and kind of didn't work as I anticipated, but the rest of our drivers make it through without wrecking. As the 77 duo goes a lap down here. And the 03 of Bailey Parker as well going a lap down. Wow, that was almost a wreck as the 03 tried to chop block the 3. But we get back and rolling without any drama there. Everyone resets and building back up the draft. We have 8 drivers with a solid shot at the win here tonight. This is going to be where the laps start ticking away. Whoa, going 3 wide for 4th position there. Kyler Sestre to the move. Ralph Oberstadt thinking about it, but thinks better right at the last moment and stays behind the 24 of Sestre. We've got Volkswagen, we've got Toyota, we've got Honda, Dodge, Chevy. The only thing it's missing is Ford and Subaru for the most part. Guido Piano on the move here. Ralph Oberstadt as well on the move, trying to make it 3 wide for 3rd position. Chaz Chadwick up high. Tom Cording up high. And these are your 8 drivers, all with a solid shot at the win here tonight. Ooh, they're going to catch the 15 at a very rough spot of the track here. They're going to have to root him up out of the way. The 50 getting blocked off here. He's having a hard time getting around the 15. There goes the 50 now. He's going to make a move on the inside. Yeah, everyone still continues on, keeping the draft very much within their wake. The nice thing about that lap traffic separation, it does kind of stretch it back out to where the draft factors in. We see a lot of rubber band moves. We're going to see it here with Tom Cording as he's going to use the momentum from the draft in his advantage here. He catches up to the back bumper of the 3. 3 starts to drive away with the advantage of his draft that time. Wow, the next going to be on the edge of going a lap down would be the Walker brothers, as they're in a drafting group all of their own right now. But the crazy part is, even if they're in a drafting group so far off the pace, all it takes is something massive to happen with this lead pack, which we all know it could happen. You never say never. Amongst our top 8, we really only have 2 title contenders, the 19 of Guido Piano and the 18 of Chaz Chadwick, who are trying to look for max points here tonight. And then sprinkle in with that, you got 3 Chevys. So for the first time in a long time, Chevy has the odds, the favorite, in their favor here tonight, with 3 of the top 8 fighting for the win here. Not quite half, but nearly half of the remaining contenders that are fast enough to win this race. Chadwick stretching it out a little bit here. The Chevys starting to mount a charge together as you've got John Hagan and Brandon Butler II on that inside line. Ooh, Brandon Butler tries to dip down low here on Hagan. He cuts loose from Hagan, and now the 23 going for the lead. Brandon Butler II taking the momentum to the front there. This is the longest green flag run we've had here tonight. Ooh, and green flag pit stops are underway. So I'm going to be a little bit more relaxed on strategy here. We will throw a caution if things sort out kind of crazy. But here's to hoping that we don't have any crazy separation from our top 8. We want to try to keep all 8 in the mix here by the end of it. See any more takers this lap? Yep, you're going to have a group of 4, leaving 3 out front. The problem is for Brandon Butler after pitting all alone. He ain't going to have much drafting help for about one lap here. He lost quite a stretch of time there for the folks that stayed out longer than him. And these three staying out a little bit longer even after the others pitted. The rest of the takers down pit road rejoining just in front of Brandon Butler. Butler ain't going to have any trouble at all rejoining the lead group here as they rejoin the racing surface. And here comes Brandon Butler back amongst your what will be your leaders when they get all sorted out here. Those three staying out another lap. This could be a fuel mileage game at that point if they stretch it ever so long. Yeah, Brandon Butler has nothing to worry about. I'm glad I don't have to throw a competition caution as they are going to keep running for it here no matter what. These three have got to make a stop. Anheuser Wachner, the odd man out here, as the rest of them dipping down pit road. You've got John Hagan and Kyler Sestre pitting now. But I'm thinking that was the wrong call to stay out that many more laps over your competition here. As rejoining the race surface it's going to be a little bit on the harder side to keep that that lead group in your scope here. These two are going to come back out together here. Damn, Wachner staying out another lap. He's pretty much on a lap of his own right now. By golly, everyone's going to come right back out in the lead pack here. John Hagan and Kyler Sestre are going to have fresher tires and a full tank of gas. We'll see where that pans out for them. That could be a big move, actually. Did not anticipate this super speedway race to potentially turn into a fuel mileage race, but it could. They leave from second and third, and they come back out in second and third. So 95 still... He finally pitted. The 95 of Wachner. We're going to have to see where he shakes out. But here is our lead 7 back in the mix now after successful round of green flag pit stops. Your team's performing top-notch pit stops there to get them all back out in the same group. Doesn't happen like that very often that we've got 8 trucks fighting for the win, green flag pit stops, and we still have 8 trucks fighting for the win. And here comes Wachner, right on time to show up back in the top 8. Ooh, he's going to have some trouble getting back out. He gets stuck in the moon surface. That slowed him up a little bit. He might have lost the lead draft with that mistake there, getting into the grit of the racetrack. So, got ahead of myself. Not quite the top 8, but we do have still the top 7 with a shot at the win here. Both your title contenders still in the mix, Chaz Chadwick and Guido Piano. For whatever reason, Guido Piano just seems to step up when it matters more, like this. we're going to have to come up with a nickname for Guido Piano. If he keeps doing crazy stuff like this, you know, when, you know, you got Kevin Harvick, who's the closer, but I feel like there's got to be a nickname for Mr. Piano that harnesses the sheer grit and determination that we see out of this driver. He just shows up and performs a little bit harder when it matters more. Nice. We're on the south side of 36 laps. It's nice that the cautions are all out of the way and we're racing. We are pumping laps out here. It's getting close to the point where we should be able to start seeing the end of this race soon. Ooh, and now is the precarious position for all these drivers as they have caught up to that second group, which has been formed for quite a while. They're going to have to maneuver through the lap traffic and avoid getting in a wreck. This could stir up some drama here. Some of these folks, though, are capable of drafting with the leaders. We saw it for a while. Once they get grouped up here, they might actually start racing decently for a brief moment. What this might seemingly allow is for that 95 to catch back up. Yeah, he's still quite a ways off the pace, though. Guido Piano stuck way up high here. He's going to have to work quick and make some very frantic moves through this lap traffic. So many of these drivers making some big moves and still surviving. Yep, Guido Piano back on the mend here as he's going to have just another spot or two before he's back with the lead pack. Tom Cording gets shuffled up high here. That's not ideal for the 50 team. There we go. Guido Piano gets by him, and here comes Tom Cording as well. And we're back in business amongst our leaders. Chadwick fighting Ralph Oberstadt here. Things are getting out of hand here again pretty quickly. just like that, Tom Cording leading the race thanks to the lap traffic here. Man, it's a gritty push for these guys. Lap traffic actually drafting well and playing a huge dividend in the closing laps of this one. Brandon Butler to the point with Guido Piano right there behind him. Ralph Oberstadt in third. And your top 4 back in the mix. 5 as you got Kyler Sestre right there. John Hagan. They keep working their way through the lap traffic, get shuffled back, and these guys are putting on a pro-class performance. "28 laps remaining, and it's anyone's guess as to who's going to pull off the victory here tonight. Definitely, I have my eyes on the 2 relatively newcomers in the series, Brandon Butler II and Ralph Oberstadt, whom have not won a single race yet to their name in the USA Trucks. Ralph Oberstadt actually has won in ARC already. But Brandon Butler II, truly a rookie in the series, and could become a very unique winner here tonight, having won sprint qualifier to lock himself in. The shame is he's going to have to come through the sprint qualifier each week right now. And so, of course, the 23 makes it through on the sprint qualifier this week, but who knows what sprint qualifiers might look like for the rest of the 9 races to come. There we go. All 7 back up at the front of the field. All the lap traffic has gotten worked through here. And now it's time for these guys to go to work, to close out strong in the last 26 laps. We'll see if tires and strategy factor in, where the 81 has more fuel, fresher tires, the majority of them. Wow, the 95 fell off a cliff. Lost the draft and ultimately lost what could potentially be a lead lap here. He's getting closed in on. Unfortunately, I'm going to go ahead and send Willow Blake home here tonight. That way we don't have... I want to let them race for this finish. It's going to be a tight one, and I want to see a good, clean race to the finish. Wrong 77. Whoops. Well, Willow Blake just gained a spot there on the accidental DQ. Oh no. Oh no, oh no. As they have caught the 77 of Blake, and the disqualification I already waived. Willow Blake might make a miserable bonehead move here. We need to be careful. Okay, good. NASCAR Racing 2003 AI managed to sort things out there without causing a big pile up. That could have been something. Ralph Oberstadt to the lead here. Chaz Chadwick up to second. 95 of Anheuser-Wagner now trying to hope for a caution to maybe get his lap back. We know that 95 is capable of drafting with these folks, so not going to be much of a threat for holding these guys up. We're back to basically the 8 we had before the last round of green flag pit stops. Ooh, this is looking sketchy. As they're 3 wide, they get sorted here pretty quickly. Man, the lap traffic has caught right back up to their back bumpers here. 21 of Trevor Walker. All of this is for position. They saw blood in the water when they saw the 95 come get lapped. That's for position there. 21 can gain a spot, gain some points if he gets by the 95 of Walkner. Oh, this is a wreck waiting to happen. You look at how tight they are at the front of the field here. 3 by 3 by 3. "21 laps remaining." Well, things are getting kind of single-filed here for a moment as Guido Piano, John Hagan, and Brandon Butler, the second, currently your third-place driver. Tom Cording getting shuffled out. Chaz Chadwick getting shuffled out. Lap traffic really mixing this race up here in the closing chapter. John Hagan right there. John Hagan, Ralph Oberstadt, those guys back on the bottom line here, fighting to gain every spot they can. Ooh, John Hagan gets shuffled out, but now Ralph Oberstadt up to second on the attack for the lead. It's going to be 3 wide for your lead as Chaz Chadwick shows up out of nowhere. Tom Cording back in the mix. Kyler Sustre trying to find an opening to get back down low here. It's Chaz Chadwick to the lead. But Anheuser Walkner, your lap down truck, he's going to get back on the inside. Tom Cording using that 95 to his advantage here. Oh no, we are going 4 wide with our leaders involved here. This is going to be trouble. Oh, and they get sorted. They get sorted pretty quickly there. Man, our leaders learned from previous mistakes here tonight not to make that mistake twice. And that was a bold move. And the driver that earned the most out of it was Kyler Sustre there. Trevor Vaden lapped down, but he's still trying to fight for every position that he can get. That lap alone bumped him up to 8th, so that's huge in the point swing of things. Tom Cording and Kyler Sustre start to drive away from the front of the field here as we've got 15 laps remaining. Guido Piano, Brandon Butler the second, Chaz Chadwick and John Hagan, and Ralph Oberstadt still within striking distance here. They just need to get open track and find the right line to work their way up to the front. There we go. Ralph Oberstadt finds that open lane, gets to the bottom, and he's going to start pushing his Chevy Brigade to the front. as you've got Brandon Butler, John Hagen, and Ralph Oberstadt hooked up on that inside line. That is 3 Chevys strong. Brandon Butler cuts ties there. That was not conducive to working their way up to the front, as the 3 of them are kind of separated. Even Ralph Oberstadt deciding to quit on John Hagen there. Now our top 4 starting to materialize at the front of the field here. It's Kyler Sestre, Tom Cording, Guido Piano, and Brandon Butler. Butler goes high, but I don't think that's going to pay off, as he's going to get washed up there and gets took over by the 81 of Hagen. Ralph Oberstadt also on the move, gets by the 23. Here goes Guido Piano for second. Kyler Sestre, in the meantime, just kind of cruising out front, leading these laps. Jordan Walker going to go a second lap down. He must have had to pit there. As the rest of the field closes in on the tin truck here. Here we go, fight for the lead as Kyler Sestre gets snookered there by the 19 of Guido Piano. Ralph Oberstadt giving that 19 truck one hell of a push. Don't count out the rest of your contenders. You still have Chaz Chadwick joining the front, joining the fold here. Brandon Butler starting to close back in. This is going to be where it starts to factor in if these guys actually have enough fuel to run all the way to the finish. 3 wide for the lead as Ralph Oberstadt, Guido Piano, and Tom Cording duking it out there. Guido stuck way up high. That's going to drop him out of the mix here shortly. Brandon Butler on the right side of things right now, as he's jumped all the way from 6th to 3rd. Guido having to deal with all that lap traffic. He can't seem to find an opening yet, as we got Chaz Chadwick going to the lead. We're going to see the lead swap hands about 10 times in these last 10 laps. Holy cow. Chadwick now has a bit of a buffer. That number 20 behind him is lapped down. 24 of Sestre, second place right there. Good run from the 24. Guido Piano now looks to be out of the mix here. Might be down. I don't think he's out yet, though, as he is coming right back on the inside. You just got to be in the right place at the right time in these super speedway races, as the lead swaps hands frantically at the end of these things. It's crazy how they kind of turn the dial up to 11 here in these closing laps. We'd seen them kind of, content to follow the leader for so many laps, but now the lead swaps hands every single lap right now. Look at that, Guido Piano back in the mix. 7 laps to go. And I just wrote him off, and he's right back here at the front of the field. 95, a lap down car. John Hagen leads the way right now, but it's going to be Guido Piano kind of with the sweet spot right there, as he's on that inside line. 2 lap down cars in front of him. Going to guide the way. The Red Seas start to part. You got to be careful, too, because it's a double-edged blade with those lap trucks. They could also spoil the race for him here. But from 5th to 1st in the matter of 1 lap, it's going to be Guido Piano leading with just 6 laps to go here. Ralph Oberstadt Brandon Butler goes low. And Jack Ross is a lap down truck. That 00 Subaru. Gonna play spoiler here on the 19 of Guido Piano, as it's gonna be Brandon Butler pushing him 3 wide into turn 3 here. Chaz Chadwick, Kyler Sustre now, mounting a charge. This is like watching a merry-go-round. These guys are giving it their all in these closing laps. Brandon Butler, the sitting duck there, as the 24 gets alongside of him. Crazy part is, the way they're racing right now, we could get a big wreck in the closing laps, and it would take out just about everyone that's left running. Wow, Sustre gets out to one hell of an advantage here. Problem is, you don't want to get that big of an advantage with 4 laps to go. The rest of the field behind you is going to draft their way back up to the front and steal that lead away. He's managing that advantage right now. He's managing it to perfection, as the draft has not seemed to gain any steam behind him. Actually, the draft kind of dissipating behind him. It seems like 3 laps to go. Has he found the key, or is he simply riding out the laps before it gets stolen from him here? Brandon Butler, no matter what happens tonight, coming from the sprint qualifier, running up front, leading laps here tonight, that 23 team can leave this track with a high note. It's going to be, it's going to be a boost to that team's morale, and we'll see more out of that 23 camp. 2 laps to go, and now Chaz Chadwick trying to mount a charge here. Tom Cording right there behind the 24 of Sustre. 2 drivers that are not in the chase, yet they're up front leading the race. Here goes Chaz. He knows that this is a huge opportunity to get some bonus points and start knocking away at what could be his first ever USA Trucks overall championship. Many times a regular season champion, but has never put all the pieces together to get the overall championship tied down. That run goes down in vain as the 2 Chevys pushing on the inside blow by Chaz Chadwick. The race stays green so far. It's going to come down to the last lap of the race. Is anyone going to have anything for Kyler Sustre here? 2 more miles left of racing here. Wow, lap traffic in the way. A valiant effort for Chevy, but it looks like they're just going to come up short here tonight. And the lap traffic totally puts the kibosh on any momentum that they were going to gain on the leaders. We saw the lead swap hands a multitude of times here at the end of the race, but it's going to be, in the end of it all, Kyler Sustre winning the race here tonight. The first race these guys have raced on the moon. Kyler Sustre, your inaugural Moon Cheese 276 winner. Tom Cording comes home second. Brandon Butler in third. Ralph Oberstadt fourth. Guido Piano with a solid top 5. John Hagan in 6th. Chaz Chadwick in 7th. And the rest of the Raggedy Bunch just kind of cruising off into the sunset here. Trevor Vaden with an 8th. Anheuser-Wagner with a 9th. Skylar Taylor with a 10th. But ultimately, Kyler Sestre steals the thunder here tonight from all the chase contenders and wins the craziest race that we've seen in a long time. It might be a day before I get points tallied up, but we definitely are going to have some upsets in the chase point standing. Jordan Walker was able to minimize the pain here today and was able to capitalize on the other's misfortune. So Jordan Walker is going to roll out of here, still maintaining that overall points lead. But he definitely got tested here today. It was going to be, it was going to be a full-length race here before we knew if he was going to come out at least minimized on points lost or what was all going to play out. So congrats Kyler Sestre and everyone else that was able to finish this race here tonight. It was a demolition derby for sure. Brandon Butler with a top 3 finish coming out of the sprint qualifier. That is very promising. And just for all the title contenders that survived the race here tonight, we'll see what they can do with the last 9 races of the championship coming our way in the next 9 weeks. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Glad you can make it. Hopefully you can catch the next one, as it should be just as exciting as tonight was. So hopefully all have a good night out there. Stay safe. And until next time, this is Jakester signing out.